over the past few videos, we have been talking about selectors. Now in this video, we are going to be talking about a very important way in which you can handle selectors on your web page. Now this is very important because when you start building your project, you might have lots of selectors in which you want to handle them in a very organized way that might help you save time for yourself. So we are going to be covering that in this video. So as you can see, this is what we have on our web page here on the right hand side of your screen. So let's just quickly go to our styles.css here. So this is what we gave to our first div, the second div, and the third div. These are all the stylings, and we gave each of these div a background color of yellow, as you can see here. So we are going to be handling this in one direction. We are going to be learning on how to handle this in one direction without going to each of these elements and giving the style. Okay, so let's go down here. So down here we are going to say, I already have this, so I'll just paste it. So down here I already call the div, the first div, and then you separate it with a comma, and then the second div, and then you also separate it with a comma, and then you specify your third div. So we are calling each of the class down here. So we are actually going to give this the same rule set, the same styling. We are going to give it a background color of yellow. So I'll copy this background color here and I'll paste it here. So we want to handle this situation in one direction. So what we are going to do now is we are going to remove each of these background color on each of these elements. So we come here, we delete this, and then we'll go to the second one here and we'll delete it. Then let's go to our first div here and we'll delete this one as well. So if we go to our web page now and refresh, now you can see this is still the same and this is working perfectly. As you can see, we have handled this situation in one direction here. You can see we have handled this in one direction. We called each of these divs, we combined them, and we gave them a background color of yellow. So if we can actually change this, we can change this from yellow, we can remove the yellow and add a green. So we specify the background color of green. If we refresh, you can see it's working perfectly. So we have handled this now in one direction. So you can actually do this. Other people like to go to each of the elements and give their stylings, but you can actually do this because I think this is the best because it will save time for you. Okay, this actually saves time. Okay, you just call you combine each of the stylings, each of the divs, and then you give a particular style that you want. But like I said, it depends on the way you want to code your CSS. Okay, other people like to go to each of the stylings and apply the styles to each of the divs. Okay, but you can actually do this. You can combine the divs and then you give the style that you want. All right. So one more thing I need to let you know here is called the overriding, or you can call it precedence, and this is also very important in CSS. So let's just copy this. I'll copy this here. I will paste it down here, and now we've pasted this down here, and let's change this from green. We'll change this from green to yellow, and if we refresh, as you can see, this is now yellow. Our boxes, they are now having the background color of yellow. Now you might be asking yourself, why is this working? Now this is working. One thing to keep in mind is the last rule set inside of your CSS file will always take precedence. So this rule set here is taking precedence. Since it's the last rule set inside of our CSS file, it is taking the precedence. So if we actually do this now, if we copy the first one, we copy this first one, and if we position it on the last place of this CSS file, and if we refresh, now you can see we now have a green background color on our boxes. So always keep in mind that the last rule set inside of your CSS file will always take precedence. So that is very important. Alright guys, so that will be it for this video concerning the handling of selectors in your CSS file. So I hope as usual you find this video useful. So I'll see you guys in the next video.